We interrupt this program for a first alert weather advisory.
We have a tornado warning that has been issued for New Madrid County in the extreme southeastern part of Stoddard County. It is also headed towards the Mississippi County area of southeast Missouri. I need to check my computer here, make sure we're in the play mode here for just a second. But you can see we do have that tornado warning. It does include the northern parts of the city of New Madrid. And we may need to reset the camera shot here briefly because we do not, it was in the play mode, but
you can go to max 2
it was not loading. So again, we have a tornado warning out for New Madrid County and extreme southern Stoddard County right now. Let's go ahead and, if we can, switch back to max 1 real quick. Let me see if resetting the system worked. So far, I think it did work. Yes, it did. All right, we're good to go now. We're good to go. So we're going to zoom in here. This is headed towards Mississippi County. If you were watching us on Facebook Live, we've been tracking this. I think we're still on Facebook as well, but we're also on the air now for the possibility of a tornado moving out of Malden and moving towards New Madrid right now. Again, this is a tornado warning that has been issued. The atmosphere is very conducive for tornadoes to develop. And there's that tight couplet right there that they issued the warning for. It is right there to the west of the city of New Madrid. So in New Madrid, you definitely want to be in your safe spot, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible if you don't have a basement. If you have a basement, you want to head down to that basement to take shelter until this storm passes. Looking at the correlation coefficient right here, looking to see if we see any debris, and right now I do not see any debris. That does not, again, mean there isn't anything on the ground. It just is helping us out, saying that right now, radar at least, does not show anything on the ground. But this, again, is a tornado warning for the extreme southern parts of Stoddard County and the northwestern half, basically, of New Madrid County. I'm going to back things up. We're going to put a storm track on this tornado warned storm, and we're also going to look at another storm that we're watching and monitoring very, very closely across the area. So let's put a cell track on this. This is moving off. Brian, what did they clock the rotation? I'm thinking it was 50 or 55. I just want to double check.
Northeast at 65.
65, wow. Okay, I was clocking it a little earlier at about 50. But all right, so here you go. You can see how fast this activity is moving. That puts it in East Prairie at 1:30 in the afternoon, around the Cairo area at 1:48. You are currently not under tornado warnings in Cairo, but it gives you an idea that you can go ahead and plan and plug in those devices in case you lose power. Go ahead and have a place to go for safety as these storms are moving extremely fast this afternoon. So, recap, tornado warning out for New Madrid County, extreme southeastern Stoddard County. We've got a lot of rain and thunderstorm activity across parts of southern Illinois right now. The heaviest storms, though, are being confined to the warm, moist air that is in the southeastern parts of southeast Missouri, most of western Kentucky, and all of northwestern Tennessee. So let's zoom into the area that we're most concerned with right now, the area that's under the gun for the possibility of a tornado, and that is moving into New Madrid County as we speak, and eventually it'll be moving in towards the East Prairie area if it holds together. So we'll stop the motion right now and take a look. Here is the storm right here. This is a storm. This is another storm that's just to the northeast of Dexter that'll go across parts of Scott County. Another storm that we were watching earlier very closely was this storm right here that's going to stay south of Caruthersville, but it had a little bit of rotation at times. It looked like it was trying to develop. And there's that couplet right there that we're watching closely in New Madrid County. It's going to clip southeastern Stoddard County, and it's going to head right towards East Prairie. Now, the latest update that just occurred, it looks less threatening. So hopefully that trend will continue. The couplet has weakened a good bit. So if that trend continues, this warning may be set to expire a little earlier. Hey, Brian, what is the set time on expiration? Do you know?
By the way, I pulled up debris. I'm not seeing any debris with that, which is good news, obviously. Until 1:30 p.m.
Till 1:30. And again, as Brian was saying, I've changed modes here. I'm looking for the faintest idea of debris, and we're not seeing anything there. So hopefully that means that this is still aloft and is not on the ground. But as you can see, the tight couplet that we saw earlier near Como has decreased just a bit. But in this environment, the low-level winds are very conducive to get any type of circulation down to the ground. So the Weather Service, as will we here at the station, if we see anything that looks particularly dangerous, even on a day when it wouldn't normally produce a tornado, this is the kind of days that we get these spin-ups that can cause some damage. So the trend, at least at this time, is that it is improving. I want to take a look at the storm that's moving towards Sikeston, because it too at times has shown a little bit of weak rotation, and right now it's hinting that it's trying to. It's very it's linear, so we're not really seeing anything that looks like a tornado, but that's something we watch to see if it wraps up and tightens. So Sikeston, we've got our eye on this storm for you. It is not a tornado warned storm at this time. It does not look like it would have a tornado at this time, but it does look like it has some very strong gusty winds. We had some power outages around the Dexter area and other places in the heartland. So go ahead and anticipate that you're going to lose power for a little while this afternoon with these storms moving through, because the winds are very, very intense. Brian, I guess we haven't had any reports yet, have we?
I keep looking for updates, and nothing so far. Like you say, it looks like that rotation is a little weaker.
Right. It's still trying to show a little bit right here when I just look at the wind speeds. And this will be interesting as well. Now, this is a loft, so don't take this as ground truth, but it gives you an idea of what these storms could produce if all this wind is brought down to the surface. You can see that's 89-mile-per-hour winds. That's well above hurricane strength. So that's why we could easily see some power outages. A few weeks ago, we had this same situation move through the Dexter area. Remember, it said 94-mile-per-hour winds at that level, and knocked the train off the tracks. So again, this is very, very strong winds. This will likely cause some wind damage as we go through New Madrid County, maybe extreme southeastern Stoddard County. Dexter, this warned storm is not in your area. Again, a lot of folks in the Dexter area have been reported to be without power. Went on the Ameren website, and they had I think they said 3:30 was the estimated time for the possibility of having that back on. We still don't have word of exactly what caused it. But again, we have a tornado warning out for New Madrid County, extreme southeastern Stoddard County. This storm continues to look a little weaker. The overall structure of it no longer looks as intense as it did. East Prairie, though, it is still headed your way. The storm that is moving into the Sikeston area right now, it is looking a little stronger in reflectivity. We'll go ahead and scope it and see what it looks like with the winds inside the storm to see if we have any issues with tornadoes trying to develop. Again, this is a very sheared environment that's favorable for tornadoes. And no, we're not really seeing anything near the Sikeston area right now. There's still a very broad, linear combination. Basically what this is converging winds. They're coming together. That tells us that the storm is growing. And we see that when we look at different aspects of the radar. You can see when we change to this source, you see these orange dots mixed in with the yellow. That tells us that the updraft is strengthening, which means that the storm is strengthening. When I look down to the storm that has the tornado warning, notice the yellows and the reds have gone away. That usually means that the storm no longer has strong updrafts, that it's in a decaying stage. But this storm is not. So we got to watch the Scott County storm closely over the next 15 to 20 minutes. And we'll take a look inside to see if we have any hints of any debris being found in any of these storms. And that we don't. We don't see hail. We don't see debris right now. So again, hopefully this just stayed aloft. If you have any storm reports, please send them our way. Head over to my Facebook page or the KFVS, better the KFVS Facebook page right now because I can't monitor mine to get those reports, or to Brian Allworth or Laura Wibbemeyer because they're here and they can monitor it as well and let me know what's going on. But again, we have a tornado warning out for New Madrid County and southeastern Stoddard County. Based on what the radar is showing us right now, I doubt it will be continued into Mississippi County. We may see a severe thunderstorm warning continued into Mississippi County, but the overall strength of this storm at least looks weaker. I am a little more concerned. Again, we talked about the growing updraft west of Sikeston. This storm looks a little more intense now in Scott County. And here's what we were concerned with yesterday. Remember, we talked about the afternoon storms. Well, this is the front, and the front kind of does this right like here. And look at what's not developing. And again, it's because we have all this rain and thunderstorm activity during the first half of the day robbing the atmosphere. There's still a chance that we could get enough energy out ahead of the front to get a couple of more isolated storms. And if we do, they could be very intense. But right now, this looks like it's going to be the main severe weather event. And based on the way these storms are moving, we've got about another 2 hours of severe thunderstorm activity in the heartland before things begin to improve. Brian, any more updates coming out?
Yeah, nothing at all, nothing at all. So hopefully, as you say, this thing has only been a radar detected tornado and is still aloft and weakening, because it really looks like the whole system is kind of weakening right now.
Yeah, that whole storm looks like it is falling apart. It was a quick little spin up, looks like what we had, and we still don't really see any developing tornadic signatures near Sikeston with the southern end of this storm. This is where we would be watching for a tornado to develop. There's still converging winds here. Actually, they're not converging. They're spreading apart, which tells me that there's a downdraft more than likely south of Sikeston. So we're seeing some very strong gusty winds. This green is going towards the radar. This red's going away from the radar. So again, that would be a counterclockwise circulation, but it is elongated. So that tells us that the winds are spreading out as the downdraft hits the ground. They spread out. So that's definitely